Thank you, everyone. So, good evening, Om Swastiastu. Welcome to Tropical Nomad Bali for this episode of SpeakuP Monday, where we're having a panel discussion on creating value on-chain during times of bears and busts. I think it's a very relevant topic in the current global landscape of uncertainties, the bear market, and also widespread crypto scams, okay? So clap your hands if you want to find out more. Awesome, so let's start with introductions. My name is Adrian Keet. I will be your moderator for this panel discussion. I'm an impact strategist and director of Unit Ventures Token Accelerator program. We help global startups to refine their business models and launch tokens with real economic value. I'll let each of the panelists introduce themselves. So starting with Melisa Om, tell us what you're working on and what are you passionate about?
Hello, everybody. I'm Melisa Om. I am a communication strategist for blockchain projects. Right now, I am working on a project called Upfire, which is decentralization of information through peer-to-peer file sharing, incentivized by crypto. And I am passionate about using this technology to enhance whatever we collectively want to create as humanity moving forward. So the creativity is what I'm passionate about in this space.
Yep, same question. Gozi, what are you working on? What are you passionate about?
So my passion is actually lies on my name already. My name is Gozian Kalinga Murdaning. I know it's a little bit twisting your tongue. So my mom and my tribe in Sunda in West Java gave me, and it means literally a hero that born with pure soul. So my passion is basically reminding people that we were all born with pure soul. Sometimes we just forgot, right? So what I'm working on along the way, alongside with Sim as well, is the focus is 5RSO. So we are basically creating an NFT marketplace for farmers, for farming and agriculture in Indonesia. So yeah, that's
awesome.
One thing.
Thank you. Same question, Cecilia. What are you working on and what are you passionate about?
Okay. Thank you, Adrian and SpeakuP Monday for the opportunity. My name is SC in Web3 and in Web2 is Cecilia. So I'm a community manager for S21. It's the largest crypto blockchain community in Bali. So I'm working alongside with 3 co-founders, which is Melisa, Gaurav, and Elliot. So besides that, I'm also an NFT ambassador for NFTBIO. It's a marketplace built on BSC. And I talk about digital fashion, and I'm very passionate about sustainability, tech and innovation, as well as creating impact within the industry. So that's me. Thank you so much. And I'm Indonesian, so thank
awesome.
you guys.
Thank you for being Indonesian. My name is Sim. I'm a human. I work with other humans, mostly. And what we're working on right now is connecting the world of digital value and physical value together. What I'm passionate about is, actually, this is the reason why I'm here, because I'm very passionate about value. That it's missed that the value as a concept is love. And we're chasing value without thinking about the love part of it. So I'm just passionate about building systems that bring the love back into value and help people understand that the future is built on that space.
Awesome, thank you. So please put your hands together for our superstar panelists tonight. Okay, good. So before we dive into specific topics, I just want to remind people the backstory and origin of Bitcoin and the whole crypto movement. Originally, it was supposed to be an answer to global financial crises, enabling individuals to transact and to transfer digital assets and money peer-to-peer, counterfeit-proof, and without reliance on third-party intermediaries who we've seen historically have the potential to be fraudulent, misusing your funds and assets. So that was the promise. But if we look at what's happening in the crypto space today, we see bad actors repeating history and giving the space a really bad name. So the panel topic today is not just about business and economic values, but also about personal and moral values in the space. So I'd like to kick off with a question to Melisa. Yeah, can you talk us through, your perspective of business value and personal values, whether they overlap or whether they should be kept separate in this space?
Yeah, thanks for that. I think that when we speak about the fundamental concepts around the space of blockchain, decentralization is something that comes often up in conversation. And for me, when I bring it down to the human aspect of who we are and how we play in the blockchain space, we are all absolutely individual in our participation in the collective, which means that value means something different for everybody in this room. We're kind of used to having value as like, okay, we have the US dollar as like the value, we measure everything against the US dollar, for example. We measure value like academic value, what MBA do you have? What kind of, titles do you have? We're very quickly deconstructing that, and I find that the personal values that we bring to the space is when we get clarity on what are our personal values, what do you care for, what do you care for, what do you care for, and we're completely redefining that right now in blockchain. So when we, some people like laugh at the meme coins, and I bring this example up often because people are like, oh, what are these things with like a dog coin? Like, who cares? Well, some people really care for jokes, and jokes are important to those people, and they want to create value around jokes. And some other people really care for, water purification and water access, and those people really put effort into that. So the personal value, I think, as we're speaking about value today, and to answer part of your question, I really believe that as we enter this space, we have to get real clarity about what our personal values are so that we can play in the space from a place of integrity with ourselves. Because it's not finding the best project that's going to give you the most money or is going to be the project that's going to be most profitable. It's really how are we redefining personal value and reclaiming the fact that through our personal value, we can actually have an effect in this new technology that we're using to create new tools on blockchain. So the difference between business values and personal values, for me, really comes down to as we players who are actually working in this space or people who want to just enter or people who are just observing where this is going, we need to get more clarity about what your personal value is, and from that place you can enter into the business space from a place of integrity and knowing what your personal values are. And never put down, get really used to stop putting down people that don't share your same values, because that's just, the principle of decentralization is that we're all absolutely different, and we have, so if people care for jokes, they care for jokes, and there's a reason why they do that. And, just because you're, bringing, I don't know, schools to Africa doesn't mean, we need to start getting more in the equal feel of accepting that everybody's values are important. Hope
Awesome.
That answers your question.
Yeah, that does. So it's really not, awesome.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I'm going to jump to Sim. Sim, you do a lot of education in the community about this topic. So I'd like to get your perspective on, how is value misunderstood in the crypto space, and what's the relationship to real world value to digital value?
So let's just think about value, right? What do we value? What I value is hugs, love, people around me that are amazing, spending time doing things that I'm passionate about, creating systems in the world. But we value like food, shelter's nice, Bali's great, right? Family has a lot of value to us. So when you think about value from that space and you actually think about literally the things that people value, it's very simple. It's like food, water, family, love, hugs, shelter, and I always say success is good meals with good people in good locations having good conversations, right? That's the simple gist of value. In crypto, we've kind of taken it into another direction, and the world had taken it into another direction. Value became this concept of numbers on a fake screen at the cost of love, shelter, care, humanity, heart. So crypto actually, blockchain in general, gives us the opportunity to be able to connect that world of value where we pay people for doing things that are good to a world where people want food, right? So what we're doing is simply, with 5 Harvest Stowe, we're tokenizing farm productivity, right? Farms produce food that feed people. That's really important to us. So we're turning it into a token effectively, or NFTs, allowing people to invest in a way that you can't take the farms from farmers. We've tokenized mines, because digging stuff up and building places is really valuable to people. But from a place where you can build into the code systems that do not allow the rape and pillage of the people who are providing the value itself. You cannot take all of the value from the farmer to the point where the farmer becomes poor. You cannot take all of the value from the person digging it up from the ground itself. You have to fairly compensate those people, and that can be coded into the system so humans can't come and take it, right? And the personal values part of it, you can code that in there too. Fairness. You can code it in there so that when we die, because we're going to die one day, I'm sorry to report, bear our bad news, those systems will continue to function in a way that they can't be corrupted like the old system was corrupted. So that's my way of connecting real world value with digital value. Now, the piece I want to close off on in this question is, we're transitioning to a world where we will experience life in the digital and physical without noticing which is which. So the divide between the digital and the physical is going to break down, and we're moving to a reality which is it's called synthetic reality or extended reality, XR, metaverse. All these are different versions of saying the same thing, that digital value and physical value is going to transition. And for us to connect the physical value to its digital representation in a way that's coded with fairness inside is what I wake up for.
Awesome. Thank you, Sim. Cecilia, so I want to ask a question related to what you're passionate about. I know one of the things that you personally value is fashion, and the other thing that you value from a moral standpoint is sustainability. So can you talk us through how digital fashion is contributing to sustainability in the long term?
Yes. So as you can see, many implementations in the blockchains as well, like what Sim mentioned, and as well as Melisa, is part of decentralizations, as well as tokenizing what it already existed in the real world into a digital world, which is, as you can see, fashion is also part of a necessity on top of food, and then also consumptions, and what also making an impact with the sustainability when you create fast produce fashions also create waste, and that's also a big part that you can do to implement that to a digital and metaverse, especially implementation of fashion, to create a minimal waste and and making a impactful knowledge to also for the community, and as well as the workers that wanted to embrace the technology and innovation. So I think that plays really well, and it's a part of our daily needs as well. And what you can create is, especially I know we collaborate as well with one of the biggest community in Indonesia. It's called Maja Labs. So they also run through Bali Digital Fashion Week, which is also contributing to what that we can implement in that community part aspect, and the values of what you can create to create minimal waste or sustainability that comes with it. So it will just instead of you keep on using, and I personally also have implementing slow fashion for past 5 years myself, and then I just thrift or exchanging and swapping clothes, and this has been implementing also with some community in Lombok, how you can incentivize let's say collecting trash, but also in a way that after the exchange you can get a clothes as well. So it's also it's a great idea to be able to implement that in a digital fashion way, and incentivize it in each Web 2 or Web 3 ways. So I think that's personally, it's a passion of mine. Creativity is always a big player. And then, decentralized community is giving a fair, equal access to everyone. So I think the technology and blockchain implementation from that, it's rewarding. So,
Amazing. Thank you. So I'm learning so much from you guys. The penny just dropped, or the light bulb's gone off. So I never really understood fashion, but I can understand look at me. Right. Thank you. My daughter chose it for me, so all credit to her. But going back to what Melisa Om was saying about personal values, people some people like dressing up, but fast fashion, to Cecilia's point, can lead to a lot of waste. So actually, cheap fast fashion is one of the biggest contributors to environmental degradation. Not to mention, poor labor conditions in certain parts of the world. But in order, with digital fashion, you can still meet, individual preferences or desires to want to dress up in the digital space without having to go to the shop and buy something and use it once and then chuck it out. So that's really amazing.
Sorry to add to that, I think it also creates your unique identity in the space as well. So you don't need to reuse. You don't need to use one single consumption, but you can always reuse and create a limitless unique identity in the space as well. So I think that's very powerful and innovative.
Amazing, cool. So I want to go to Gozi. Sim mentioned this farming projects with some tokenization aspect. That sounds really interesting, and I know you're working on that. So can you dive into that a bit more and explain to us how that's benefiting the farmer and the end user, and where does tokenization come into play?
Thank you for that. So, if you look at the world right now, right? So everything is breaking down and falling apart, and the most important thing is right now food. In the time of crisis, family, love, and they want to hug each other. They've been separated 2 years. So if I go back 20 years ago, our ancestors or my uncle used to be one of the richest people in the village. Why? Because they were farmers. So now the farmers cannot even have opportunity to feed their children. So they send their children to Jakarta or do something else, but it caused actually many more crises, because in 20 years we don't have even farmers anymore to provide us food. Because in Indonesia, 90% of farmers are above 40 and 60 years old. So imagine, right? So then with this problem also caused basically the desperation or frustration of the farmers looking for funds to be able to, plant again, to farm again. So then they ask loan sharks, so we call it tengkulak, like a middleman agent, to be able to plant. But in the end, they are the one that decide for the price. So they press the price. This is what's happening really in the farming, the agriculture, in the world actually, not only Indonesia. So they are depend on them. So they are the only one that can give the money, and then basically they keep poor. So with Fiverr Festo, we create the possibility where we can ask the funding or get the funding through the NFTs, which is with the blockchain and smart contract, is faster, right? So it's transparent, it's trustable, and efficient. So everybody in the world right now can invest in an NFT or something that has really a real value. If you look at NFT, I believe a lot of people know about crypto here. They're only fluctuative, only image, pictures, which is, that's valuable for people that love it, but food is more valuable, farmers are more valuable, agriculture is more valuable. So that's the idea came from that. Basically.
So just to add to that, the loan sharks are giving loans at over 20% to farmers, just for one harvest. And the farmer doesn't make that much profit, so they can't pay it back next cycle, so they keep in debt forever. Yeah. What we do is we take their farm productivity, not the farm itself, but the farm productivity, turn it into an NFT. When you buy the NFT, that money goes to the farmer without any debt. So now the farmer is debt-free. The farmer then promises 45% of the profits of the next harvest back to the NFT investor. So now your NFT is not just a picture that's worthless, actually, technically, correct, unless you value art, in which case it is valuable. But that NFT is basically you invest something and you're going to get profit, a promise of payback of profit when the harvest ends. So the investor makes money by helping the farmer generate capital without any debt.
Or you can get the harvest directly. So let's say you buy an NFT for rice field in Banten, then you can have the rice being sent to your home as well if you want.
Yeah, and we have...
You can. So we are planning to have a agro-tourism, so where people really can see what they invest in. So now the teenager can take the NFT and then they can come there and then learn about farming as well at the same time.
And the second project, FarmScent, is going to take that productivity and ship it to Saudi, Kuwait, Dubai, Bahrain, and Oman. Because the Middle East has a food security issue, so they're happy to invest as long as they get a guarantee of the productivity at a certain price at the end of the harvest. So we're feeding kids by solving the food security issue in the Middle East and solving the debt issue in Indonesia, all while the farmers maintain ownership of their farms, and they can access a digital world which nobody knows how to access.
Amazing. Wow. Amazing. So the first project was 5 harvest O. So 5 word harvest and O or 0?
So the idea from the CEO is actually Sabdo. He said like, okay, so everything is like Web3, Web 2 and stuff, and then they want to like harvest 5.0, but he make it like swap it like 5 harvest O for easier or make it cool,
Awesome.
That's
okay.
That's what cool people do.
Okay. It sounds like a Web3 name. So I like what you said about people can go and visit the farms. So that's part of DYOR in the space. If you're not familiar, DYOR means do your own research. So if you're based in Bali or Indonesia, you can go and visit the farm as part of your research in the same way that if you're investing in a mine that's ethically and sustainably run, you can go and visit the mine site. So my question is, if people are not in Indonesia, like how can they do research to just check out these projects? Not just your projects, but like general advice.
So for now, we create basically a Telegram a group where we shoot everything, and we're gonna shoot also 360 videos so that people can really experience it in a way it's kind of real. But in the future, we want to create a metaverse or game experience where there is a farming simulation gaming, right? So everything that's gonna be played in the game is gonna be planted in the real life. So basically, the kids, the children, they play because they love to play. This is the way they learn about something right now, right? So they play and they plant something, and they can basically see that is planted there in the metaverse. And we're planning it with XR, right? So people in Norway, for example, or children in Norway, put it here, and then they kind of can touch it, the rice, and put it there, but it's real. So this is like how we can imagine our vision, and then we see holographic, let's say, kid planting in the farm, and then with the sensor there, and then the farmer see, and we planted it. It's also the idea from our founder. He said like it's for maintaining the supply. Like see, okay, this is the supply right now, and for overviewing everything also as a inventory.
Amazing. So you're do your own research, not just reading a white paper, but you're making it very tactile and experiential, because like let's be honest, not many people read documents these days. They're just like the attention span's so short. But if you make it really rich and you make them want to find out about the project, that's going to really help the research process.
So that also, that's what we mean by the wall between the digital and the physical is breaking down. That right now it may seem fantastical to think, wait, a kid is going to go plant some rice and the farmer's going to be sitting there with a headset seeing a kid walk into his field planting some rice? It seems magical, but that's the world we're moving into, where locality as a concept disappears fundamentally. And because that happens, we can then interact with the world in places where we can't be, but the tactile feel of it is the same, right? Yeah.
I just wanted to add something to the do your own research thing and bring it back to the value part the personal value part that I was speaking about earlier. Because for people who are sitting there and who maybe don't grasp every single part of this project, often do your own research comes around, where to invest your money and how to make sure that you're not going to lose your investment. But if you start thinking about doing your own research from the perspective of actually solving a problem or a concern that you have in your life, so if there's something that you're a writer and you want to know if there's collaborative writing. I'm looking at a writer, a really good one right there. But it's just an example. But anything that happens in your space that you're like, in my life, what could I improve? What's something that I need a solution for? And then you go onto the blockchain and you look for a project that is maybe looking for something like that. Maybe some collaborative creation or maybe some, information resource or some. Then you're doing your research from a place of actually kind of knowing the problem that you're dealing with and not from the, okay, is this going to make me enough money or not, which is fine if you're doing the crypto investment thing for the money. But if you're really engaging in the space from a place of the blockchain and the possibilities, think of how, is there a problem that can be solved on the blockchain, a problem that you have? To bring it personally, I was a television producer for 15 years in Canada. And today I am the most critical media person ever. I cannot listen to anything that anybody else writes. I became extremely, especially during the pandemic, whoever controls the message controls everything. And I am the most, I don't watch Netflix, I don't watch movies, I don't read news, and this is a person who was fully involved in there. I am passionate about decentralizing information and having people access the information that they care to access, not the one that is being fed by the narrative of whatever it is, because I was part of that. So that was passionate to me. And the project that I work on, it's decentralizing file sharing. And file sharing is like, I send you what I think I care for, and if you care for it, we can share it directly, and I don't have any intermediate that it's, that's the way that I engage in doing the research to find the project that fit with what I care for. But not everybody has to care for that. So if we think of do your own research from what problem is there in your life, everyday life, I'm sure somebody on blockchain is working on it. I'm telling you right now, everything in every single industry is being developed. So if you have, fashion, whatever interest you have, writing, creativity, farming, food security, tech, whatever, somebody's doing something around that. So do your own research. We can start looking at it not from the, beyond just the money. Is this going to make me, am I doing due diligence so that these people are not going to scam me? Because that's just getting a little old at this point.
So just to add to that, here's how I teach people how to do their own research in this space, okay? In blockchain, you ask the question, what does it do? What does the thing that you're buying do? Right? If you can't understand what it does, don't buy it. Never buy it. Because somebody else understands it better than you and they're going to take all your money. Right? Then you go, okay, I can kind of understand what it does. Okay? Then you ask, where does the money come from? Because a fact of investing is you don't make money, you take money. Investing is you take other people's money. You put in money, you put in money, buy something that's cheap. When somebody else puts in their money, you take their money, right? So you have to think about where's the money coming from the thing that I'm making money from? For me, it's like money's coming from farms. Okay, well, that makes sense. People are selling stuff, farms make money, mines make money. When you say FTX, where's the money coming from? And if you can't answer that question, you know where the money's coming from? You. Okay? That's it. 2 questions. If you can answer those questions, research complete.
Oh, I want to add one more thing, actually, that people really lost about, finding the value or do you want research. I think the most important part is really understanding your own research here, your own blockchain system. I'm always really reminding people that, because remember when internet came, right? So people say, oh, it's really beautiful. Now, who is the one that controlling, the one that doesn't know how this internet system works, right? So if we really understand our blockchain system here, there is no tool, technology, anything that can control us. So you can then understand what kind of projects, what kind of thing you want to value, because you really know your value. You really know your own self-worth. You know your own, love that you want to bring into the world, right? So that's very important, I think, in this space, because people are chasing instead of coming back and then deciding from within, So just to add on.
Yeah, thank you.
to simplify that, I think like value equals passion. So find your passion as well. So there you go.
Amazing. Actually, yeah, actually, so very inspiring and insightful. I want to go back to Cecilia because you are community manager at S21, the largest, crypto community. We got people who are in there to learn. We have people in there to share their knowledge. Some people building, real value project, and some people are there investing, and that's all fine. So I guess my question to you is: are there some standout projects? You don't have to say the name if you want to keep them anonymous, but what projects come to mind that either local or foreign that are really building value even in these really uncertain times?
Thank you, Adrian. So besides these two projects, which is stand out as well, so I think there's a couple of also like problem-solving projects that are existing within the community. So to say like what have you been implementing in the Web 2 to Web 3, like tokenized, like let's say plastic waste. There is like when you buy this NFT, the utility is that you can get to do plastic vending machines that are existing in nearby, and they're gonna also implement it. Like I'm probably sure like 70% of the audience here are from Europe, which is some of the solutions that already exist in the first world countries. Say like in as conveniences, you go to the convenience stores and you have it, but it's not here yet. But it will be as a solution. It's like one of the outstanding projects that we should actually push into sustainability when it comes to that impact creation inside the community members. And they're also like apart from planting trees and tokenize it and carbon emissions impact projects that is also available, and as well as helping the community that is out of work within the hospitality industry. I know I see one of it, this Club Conscious project is helping that out, and I've known Halim personally for a couple of years now, which is amazing that there's so much implementation from the Web 2 to the Web 3 projects, and it's community driven, it's creating value to the community, and it's giving back to the community as well. So that's the principle of having S21 exist to help people, and it's focused on collective learning. So I think it's always the best to, when you have an expertise of knowledge sharing that you can do that, it's always the best to give that away to the impact community. So yeah.
Amazing. And I mean, these are all homegrown, Bali or Indonesian-based projects. So I really want to give a shout out.
Right. Thank you, everyone.
So going back to what Sim was saying about investing in something, and also what each of you have been saying in terms of solving a problem. So I've been working in the startup space for a while, and you come up with a problem that's big enough and meaningful enough to solve, for humanity, for solving wealth inequality, etc. And you have a solution, innovation, but a lot of times you also need some seed funding. We're going through this period of bear markets, the space getting a bad reputation from the likes of FTX. So are you still, where do you sit in terms of the ability for founders to raise funding in these times?
A good idea you can do for free. Okay.
Elaborate.
Google was built for free in a warehouse, in a garage, right? Founders are some of the most indomitable people in the world, right? They will never give up. When you give them a bad time, they just hunker down, go get another job, start working somewhere else, and then spend the extra time on their projects themselves, right? So being an entrepreneur is brutal, right? In this time, if you have a great idea and you feel like things are not working out, just keep going. Just sit in a corner, cry a little bit, meditate, and then get right back to it, right? Because in life, bad times are followed by good times. There is about $100 trillion of value that will flow on the blockchain within the next 8 years. I think you'll be okay, right? But it is going to require grit in these kind of times. Now, The projects that build during a bear market are the ones who are successful during the next bull market. The ones that start building in the bull market collapse during the bear market, and their brand value goes right alongside it. So, you know, this is what I'm doing. Moved into a little tiny place in a corner, and just decided to cut back on all costs. Raising funding, you know, there isn't much to be raised out there, but ideally, don't focus on the funding. Focus on executing the core business itself. If you can just start doing the thing that you need to do, even in a very tiny scale, it'll be worth more than you going out and getting all this money and then still not having it come to fruition.
Yeah, and I just wanted to add to that so in Upfire, the project that I'm working on, it's already gone through the second bear market. So it's a project that's been around for a little while. Actually, it's funny because yes, we talk about bear, but there's a lot of money in the space right now. We're applying for grant, like the amount of grant money that is there to create projects, even though we keep talking about the bear and it being a moment of scarcity. When we're putting together all these proposals and all these pitch decks, there is a lot of money out there from different blockchains, from people that are doing stuff. So we have to also think about it in the, you know, from the perspective of abundance, because there is money out there. But as Sim says, I mean, I guess something in the industry that's kind of known is that when there's not a lot of money out there, what projects are doing, it's a quieter time, it's less marketing time, less visibility, but it's more building, and it's just getting into the core values of what your project is. But I have to say that, I mean, you know, we have like monthly, we have like 4 different things to apply for to try and get more money. Now, of course, how many projects do get access to that funding depends on how much they've built, how much they've worked on their, you know, on how valuable is the project for the time being and for the chain and da-da-da. But just to also shift the fact that there is money. And just a little comment on the FTX thing. I think anybody who's in crypto or who's been in this space for a little while understands that that's not crypto, okay? FTX is not crypto. We left the decentralized sort of banking situations. You know, it's like you're putting a lot of people that have just started to get into this space, of course, because it's the easy way to put in, is the way you don't have to do that much research. You just put your money in there and you hope for the best, and a lot of people got burned. But I personally don't know many people that got burned, and it's because the people in my space are not putting their money there. It's the beginners, and it's the people who are just trying to get in, and of course the ability for that to be an easy point of entry. Unfortunately, it's most of the, you know, I don't know the numbers, and I don't know that this is a stat, but it's my personal impression that it's a lot of people who do not stand by the values of crypto who went into this. So, you know, yes, the space is getting a bad rep, but I think, anyways, yeah, FTX is not crypto. Sorry, that's it.
Yep. Would it be too controversial to say that, you know, people who got scammed, I think a lot of them were too lazy to do their own research. And so lazy is one thing, and probably a bit greedy, like being FOMO, going in where everyone else is going in. So, you know, is there a role for, you know, regulation or education? I think for sure. Or some kind of evaluation, you know, to say, you know, before you get it onto this platform, can you fill in this, you know, some Discord or Telegram or even Facebook groups have a questionnaire before they allow you into the group. I don't see many exchanges having that very basic, you know, knowledge evaluation before they let you trade.
So here's just statistics, right? 90% of startups fail. Out of the 10% that survive, 90% are, out of the 10% that survive, 90% are built by founders who have built startups before. So you can then use that as a metric to say, is this project being built by somebody who's had successful projects? That's a good metric to go by. 90% of crypto is a scam today. I am so glad FTX is happening. I'm really sorry if anybody got hurt, but I'm so glad FTX is happening, because this will be the death of all of these BS cryptos, right? What will happen now is regulations are coming. You know, I've spoken to many of these regulators, the biggest regulators, and they've said between 2023 they get announced, 2024 they get implemented, by 2025 we have global regulations. After that, projects like Unit that are taking real world businesses and tokenizing them as securities or not, those kind of business models will win out. Now, will most of them fail? Yes, a lot of them will fail as well, just because of startups failing. But the scamminess of all the stuff that's out here will be taken away because of regulations. So I'm glad this is happening. Like, remember that a forest fire is required for a forest to be healthy. We're going through the fire process right now, and on the other side is a healthy forest.
Awesome, thank you. So then I guess I look back to previous cycles of boom and bust. .com. In the early days of the internet, people were. I guess it was the internet version of tokenizing everything. People were putting all sorts of businesses, online that didn't make sense, and then there was a huge crash. But it wasn't, a crash that wiped everyone out. We have seen phoenixes rise up from those ashes to be the unicorns and decacorns of today. So I think I agree with you, Sim, in terms of this flush out. I think there was a lot of false adoption, people rushing to the space, both scammers, people who were scammed, and just the general public who were curious. And I think if you went into the space just to learn and you got slightly burnt, that's part of your education. But looking beyond, this current phase, what can we learn from the history of previous booms and busts? Like, what is there reason to be optimistic for the spectators and also builders in the space? And that's an open question to anyone.
So I think I'm coming back into a primal or ancestral lineage, like where everything happens naturally how the universe want to happen. When dinosaur time was there, so there was maybe like just a couple of species that was there, right? And then something needs to happen, which is like everything, earthquake, volcanoes, and it destroy everything. Imagine human was there. Human were there, and they were like, it cannot happen. So it's like the more you resist, that is basically the natural cycle will happen to you, to your life, to anything, to the market, to crypto, anything. The more it's going to be painful, So if you surrender into, like look back into just the normal cycle, like how nature really does, every earthquake, it needs to be shaken. The Mother Earth needs to kind of shake itself to just remind people, hey, don't just do business, like you're gonna die tomorrow, or right now I can't really just do this. So I think the pain that people really now facing in crypto, which like losing a lot of money in FTX or other things that is really happening in the world, in business also, just simply because they are not able to understand their natural cycle, their body, and there is a disconnection with also the natural cycle of universe, So that's what I can bring into this space for now.
So that actually reminds me of something a coach told me once. She said, would you change all of the traumas that you've had in your life? I was like, this happened to me, cry. And she's like, okay, would you change them? Would you not want them? And I was like, no, they made me strong. They made me who I am today, actually. My scars I wear them like, a shield. And she's like, okay, then what makes you think that the traumas that you're going through today will be something that you won't like later on, right? In crypto, same thing. Yeah, we got hurt, so what? Who here hasn't had a broken heart ever? Liar. Okay, we got 2 liars. The rest of you are truthful people. So yeah, like we've all been hurt before, and it made us that much stronger in the process. We're being hurt right now, just gain strength from the process. Now, what you said about learning from history, right? Radio took about 60 years to proliferate the earth. Actually, sorry, telephone took about over 60 years to proliferate the earth. Radio took about 50 years. TV took about 30-something years. Internet took 20-something years. This space is here for 13 years. It's going to be about 20 years for it to take over. Metaverse is going to take over within about 15 years. AI is going to take over within 7 years. We are in the exponential age. Things are going absolutely asymptotic in their growth. We are here at the foot of that mountain, and to our human mind, it doesn't even make sense. Right here, right now where we are, how much is Bitcoin? $16,000, $17,000? I guarantee you in 5 years we'll look back at this and go, man, I should have bought it for 70. I remember when it was $5. I started when it was $5. $5, right? And we were like, there's no way they allow this thing to new money to come along. No way, government's gonna knock it down. And then I remember when it was 200, we said the same thing. And then I remember when it was 1,200, we said the same thing. Now 17,000, then 170,000. It's not that Bitcoin's becoming more valuable. It's the dollar becoming worthless, and it's destroying all the value that exists around it, right? So our goal right now is just to persist, like what I said in the previous talk, right? Please watch a few things. Simon Sinek's finite player and infinite player talk that defines how players play the game. And infinite players do not play to win, they play to just outlast everybody else. Please watch Ray Dalio's New World Order. That will define to you how history has happened and how financial markets have existed in history and what we're going through today. And please read the book, The Fourth Turning. Those three things put together will give you a clear definition of exactly what is going on today. And once you know that, then you're like, oh, great. Then I'll move my chess pieces over here, over here, over here. Give me 2-3 years, and I'll be perfectly fine.
So
amazing.
Another add-on. So my mentor said to me always, like, if you don't know the past, then you will leave the past. We need to walk back into the future. So it's like everything that's happening right now is happening with certain things and as a purpose. Again, the more you resist, the more you get pain. So surrender, learn about your past, obviously the past of the history, universe and stuff. Then you just can play the game easily.
Amazing. So we're talking about seasons and cycles, both from a philosophical standpoint and also a logical standpoint, because these things will come and go, right? So, yeah, amazing. I'm going to pause there, actually, and get the audience involved. So have a think about any questions you have for the panel. Oh, here we go.
Thank you.
What's your name, darling?
Carol.
Carol. The audience, for the benefit of the audience. I know everyone here.
So, just one remark before I move on to my question on what you were sharing about the responsibility that people have to take to learn about things. And that kind of, laziness that you were talking about. I think a lot has to do, from my point of view, not about laziness, it's just about genius. So it's about the thing that I'm really good at. And I'm really good at writing. This is what I love to do, and this is what I love to spend 99% of my time doing. However, it doesn't mean that I'm not interested by what's happening in your world and that I don't support it. It's just not my thing.
Sure.
So I might have an interest and I want to be a supporter, but it doesn't mean that I want to be a player. So I think a lot of people are operating in that, in that space.
Yeah.
So I write about compassion. I write about intimacy. And Sim, I want to go back to something that you shared about this synthesization, of world. I happen to wear cotton, not synthetics, because I happen to focus on not fashion, but style, something that I can wear for the rest of my life. So I'm really fascinated by this thing of synthesizing or syntheticizing, I don't know how you want to call it, this idea of touch, yes? I'm a very tactile person. The idea that you can put some, glasses on and then feel a plate of rice, exactly. Because it's not about only the feeling, it's about the the smell. It's about that sensation. And what you're saying is that if I extend it to relationship, I will then be able to almost walk away from touching human beings and then have the same experience. But I mean, touching your skin and touching your skin and touching your skin is going to arouse me in very different manners. So what is that going to say about the future of relationships and the future of touching? Because you're talking about being human, that's being human. And having the courage to connect with people, which I'm finding is completely like being eradicated from a lot of ways or intention of the way that people live now. They're afraid of connecting. They are losing themselves into the metaverse. I don't want to lose myself. I want to touch you. I want to hug. Yes? So this way of being fearless, but then moving into the fearful and the kind of space where, I can just synthetically connect with people and then hide myself away from having the courage to create these beautiful relationships with people. So I find that very fascinating, but equally incredibly, frankly, dangerous to the future of relationships. So can you comment on that?
Yeah, so before I let the panelists, thank you. So it's a multi-part question, so I'll summarize it. The first half was about using your genius to operate in the space, and the second half was about synthetic reality. So on the first part, I'd like to address it. So you said that you're passionate about writing. So Warren Buffett talks about investing in your sphere of competence, right? So what you could do, as an example, is look for projects that are trying to solve problems or trying to help writers to scale their impact. Because when you then look at those projects, you'll understand if what they're saying makes sense from a writer's perspective, or does it help you to serve your readers or your audience. And if it checks all the right boxes, that's part of doing your research. There's no point in you looking at projects where your sphere of competence or your genius doesn't lie, because it will all be very foreign to you. So the good thing about the space is, you can gravitate towards, what's important to you and what you understand. So I just wanted to address that part. And then I'll let the audience, the panelists chip in.
Yeah, and this is what we've been talking today about value and individual value and how you can participate in the space. So I'm 100% with what Adrian just shared. But also, I want to bring back the idea of, before I let Sim, if that's who you were addressing your question to the idea of your individual participation in this space. I do not believe that there's like a movement or a technology that's going to take over the world, because you're a part of this world. So if you're not into the metaverse and if you're not into wearing those goggles, you don't have to be there. And most probably, I know that the statistics say that metaverse is going to be everywhere, but you as a part of the decentralized movement of bringing your own genius to the space, if your genius has nothing to do with the metaverse, don't even go close to it. Don't try to understand it. If it doesn't call you, this is coming back to what we were saying at the beginning and here, Moderator, and it's like, what do you need for you, and how can you use this technology or this, playground to create new things that would, matter to you? So collaborative writing or discussions on the blockchain, I don't know. Something related to writing, and I'm not an expert on writing projects, but I'm sure there's something out there for writers, or something's being built, or somebody's already tapping into that. So I think we got to step, that's again like thinking of a hugely centralized movement that's going to take over the world. We're moving in the opposite direction. We're moving in the direction of you working towards what's important to you, and you creating your community, and that community being valuable because it stands for principles that do not relate to my principles or the other person's principles. It's because we're really bringing out our genius from a place of sovereignty, which is what I love to call intuitive sovereignty, is actually how I call it. Is it your own intuitive, what do I care for? How do I build from that? So these things of you not participating, well, you participate from what matters to you, and from that place, it's okay. You don't have to learn everything about crypto and investing if it doesn't call you. And it's as simple as that. I think we need to just start looking into what's valuable to you, and playing the space from that place.
Awesome.
add something? Thank you. Really good questions. I just want to ask you, do you use apps in your phone? Yes. So what kind of apps do you use mostly in terms of connection of writing? Not at all. So what are the most things that you use in apps in your phone? Sorry? TransferWise. And WhatsApp, maybe. Yeah. So this is what I can see, like how if we react based on fear, right? Then everything will happen in uncomfortable, unpleasant way, right? Everything that is coming into your field. I mean, I can remember the time where, remember there is like this, in Indonesia there's a blue thing where you put coin inside, right? You put coin inside and you have like 10 minutes and you rush yourself, yeah, telephone booth. Remember that time, right? So I can still remember, I was like, I was trying to date someone, it was like 10, exactly, right? So do you want to go back there? It's your choice, So now technology basically takes over everything, like a lot of things, but it's actually improve and enhance a lot of things, right? So I used to write SMS only 160 characters, so we need to always simplify and stuff, right? So otherwise you pay a lot. So exactly the same thing what's happening with blockchain right now, So maybe right now it's like very abstract for people, because like very techy, I don't know how to use it. So the usability of the blockchain itself is pretty hard to understand yet. But now, in your phone, there is 1,000 million of apps, right? So you can choose whatever, right? You use Wise, but there is another payment system that they can do exactly the same thing. But you choose Wise because you like it, because it's easy, whatever, right? So I think in terms of, this synthetic thing, the way we look at it is, like how can, like which value I can bring to the people, to life, to world, and what is the things that really matters for me, So if it's writing, then you can collaborate in the way which is then decentralized right now in blockchain. So nobody can really take it. If you write something, then it's gonna be written in a smart contract, and everybody knows it's from you. So it's from your writing. Nobody can take it. That's also one of the problem of the artist, of the creator. I just take it and then it's claim it's from me. If you put it in blockchain, a decentralized system, which is trustable, then it's from you. So this is just a transition of system, and where we can decide, do I choose fear to face this, or do I choose love? Do I choose something that I can create an impact from? That's why I love this panel. That's why I love you, Robert, to create this space where we are not focused on, like Silicon Valley, only technology and then like more and money. This is more based on love and value of Trikita Karana and Indonesian principle of Pancasila, human. We put human in technology.
Awesome. Thank you.
That's the best question I've ever heard anybody ask. So passionate. To answer the first part of it, I work with a lot of older people who, when we say, experienced, wise, experienced and wise and beautiful people. It's okay. When I was your age, I used to mind that too, but once you get to my age, then you'll start to be okay with it. The exponential age goes like this, right? It goes like this for a very long period of time, and then it does this, right? The people who spent most of their life in this stage for the last 70 years after World War II, it's been very stable, and stability was the norm, right? So now when we're telling you, we're doing this, you're like, no, I'm not. And that is perfectly fine. That's great. Stay stable. We need you to stay stable, because you are going to guide us into this chaotic world from a place of stability, and you're going to provide us beauty and art and knowledge that all of us that would revolutionize the world every 30 seconds are not really going to be able to create, right? But along the way, you will discover apps in this space, which you'll be like, well, that's nice, right? So when I started thinking about this space, I was like, they're going to put it on our faces, and they're going to take over all of our sentience, and they're going to take over our experience. We are not going to have a good day, right? And then I just sat with it, and I was like, wait a minute. I have a resistance to it. Let me lean into it. And then I did a thought experiment. I was like, what if we could connect the consciousness of all of humanity together and achieve a state of oneness beyond anything we've ever achieved before, to the point where we can feel each other's feelings? And we can, yeah, sure, hive mind, Borg, whatever you want to call it. But what if I could feel your mind and feel your soul and become one with you and know you at a level that I could just never know? What if all of us could do that? Right? So I'm not this way or that way. I'm just here knowing that this is coming. So I just get excited about it, and I start building on it, and I start saying, if the thing is coming, I want to build a world which is beautiful and light and love and all this stuff. Now here's the part that's going to scare the S out of you. The plan is not goggles. The goggles are like those old phones that you used to carry around with the stuff. The plan is a hyper realistic mental hallucination inside of your head and outside of your head within 12 years. They're working on jacking us into another matrix. For those who choose, they're going to be very persuasive to make us choose. But for those who choose, you will be able to experience everything and anything you've ever wanted to experience with anybody from across the world who chooses to sign up for that process. That is where we're headed. So what most of the analysts are saying, and what I agree with that as well, the world, we're having a hard fork of humanity. Somebody said this, and it's such a beautiful concept. We're having a hard fork of humanity. On one side is going to be humanity that chooses to hit I agree on the button, and I can fly around like a dragon on Mars with 36 of my friends and have every single thing that I've ever wanted in that world. Then there's the other side. Like, I also have a farm where I'm literally going to be growing food, and I'm moving there within 2 years because I do not want to hit I agree on everything. Right? So we're going to have this split in humanity where some people are going to say no, some people are going to say yes. Now, here's one thing to keep in mind. When I say no, I make my choice for me. But when I say no, I shouldn't make that choice for my children, because our children are already there. You tell kids, go outside and play. They go, no, I'm going to go inside and play with my friends. I'm going to pick up a gun and go to war in this game where we're going to go shoot stuff. And we're like, why are kids doing that? It's because they're training to live in a world that will exist like that. So for us to make our own choices, ideally from a place of love, is totally fair. But let's just keep in mind that we're making these choices for next generations after us. So choose wisely.
Thank you. Who knew this conversation was going to go that way? Thank you.
So you have one more question from Scott.
Yep.
How's it going, guys? Fourth Turning is a really, really good book, by
Isn't
the
it?
way.
It's the best.
Really good. Yeah. So I've got a couple questions.
What's your name, brother?
I go by Shax.
Shax. Okay.
Just make
That's
it
a
easy.
cool name, man.
Thanks. So we found out that 5-letter names on Twitter do quite well, and if you go beyond 5, it's useless. So I stuck with 5. I went with 6. So
What's
anyway.
your question?
Okay, I got 2. So first one, for the farmers. Are you the founders of that project? You're the founder.
Co-founders.
Co-founders, all right. What chain? Just like these are just quick ones. Just
We are still
information.
deciding on the chain which one is gonna be the best, but we're gonna support a lot of chain. Mostly, we're gonna start with Polygon first,
Okay.
and then we will see
And
what
you'll
is
go
the
across.
best.
What's capital raise?
The capital raise?
Yeah.
Is-
Expected.
For the first round is 500,000, right?
Okay.
For 5 harvests.
What's the collection size? These are just questions that we want to know.
Yeah.
It's $500,000 for 5% of the equity in the company and 5% of the founders.
Okay. And how do you plan to do the claim? Because these are passive income models, right? So how do you plan to do the claim? Is it airdropped? Is it claimed? Is it earned? What's the structure? Because the chain is going to matter, right?
Yeah, exactly. So the NFTs themselves are just bought on a marketplace.
Yeah.
The tokens are going to be airdropped to the people once the tokens are issued. If the tokens are issued, if the company itself gets tokenized, otherwise you just get equity.
Tokenized sucks. It's really bad. Just by the way,
It sucks right now.
If you're doing passive income models, like tokenized sucks.
It sucks
really
right
bad.
now, but
It's
wait until
always
the
gonna-
regulators drop the regulations
it's
and
always
there's
gonna
complete
suck.
clarity.
It's always gonna suck. Just drop it directly. It's so much better. But anyways,
What's your background, Shax? Good questions.
my background.
Yeah, I like these.
I'm a contributor to Solana Labs, to Metaplex. I run my own project on Solana's chain.
Amazing.
A few of them, actually. I'm part of D Mafia. I'm part
Whoa,
of.
whoa, 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 whoa.
Yeah.
We're
if,
sorry,
if you know what D-Mafia is,
No,
yeah.
no.
It's just a kind of group of engineers that part of NWC. Just
Amazing.
I've been in this space a while.
Awesome.
Amazing.
But yeah, you said Fourth Turning. That's a good book. Have you read The Bitcoin Standard?
Yeah.
Everyone should read that.
Have you read Anti-Fragile?
No, I haven't. It's
by
on my list.
Taleb?
No,
I think you guys need to get a coffee.
Yeah, I think we gotta go hang out.
Have you read The Sovereign Individual?
Of course, I've read the Sovereign.
Okay, so these are the classics, right? So,
Yeah.
so something that you said that makes a lot of sense is that Bitcoin's not getting more valuable, the dollar's getting less valuable, and the dollar is the reserve currency because of Bretton Woods, which was a massive mistake. But anyways, so what we're experiencing right now is kind of, we're not able to value things properly, right? Like that's, and it's becoming more and more obscure how to value things. So people are kind of grabbing onto whatever they can. Like I've got potatoes and I've got this, and we're going to value it via these NFTs. But there's this feeling in the air that none of us fucking know why things feel so heavy, because they feel quite heavy at the moment. Why do they feel so heavy?
Yeah.
It's because we're losing the ability to value things properly. And like that's literally what it. If you don't feel it, you live under a fucking rock, or you've just
Let's
been
keep it
in the
PG.
gym too long.
Yeah, we gotta keep it PG. We
So,
got some kids on the
oh,
line.
okay.
Yeah,
sorry about that.
No, but it's true.
It's true. So like it's because there's this devaluation. So like in times of devaluation,
Yeah.
as Anti-Fragile says, right, things become very polarizing. So like what happens when they become polarizing? The scammers come out and everyone comes out and they go, you can feel that something's not right, and if you follow this direction, it's all going to be okay. But like that's just part of this process, right? So to bring this whole back just really quick
what's
to
the question?
To the first question, why does the farming NFT need to be an NFT? I just asked this to another project that's doing moonshine whiskey, and they had kind of the same business model, so I'm wondering what you're going to say.
So the best reason for it to be an NFT is simply because the NFT allows us to give a proof of ownership of the rights to the access to the funds. Okay. Right? So like I just need a verifiable way to be able to say you put in $10,000 into this hectare of rice. Yeah. Right? If you put in 10,000 and you have that NFT and you sell it to your friend for 11,000 and we promise 12,000, then your friend gives us back that NFT. It's using the NFT for the function that it's supposed to be, right to ownership of something.
Yeah,
it basically proves the rights to ownership.
They're just access to funds, access to community, whatever. It's just access.
It's a key that allows you to access the funds.
And it also allows you to use unaccredited investors.
It depends on which jurisdiction we're in.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can have unaccredited investors. You know what you're talking about, right?
No matter where it is. Yeah.
SEC. That's not the reason why we're doing it at all. But that is a good point that
I had to say
Shax makes.
I'm sorry, I had to say it. And I like the project. I do.
Thank you.
One thing is that in the NFT space, we have a customer profile that is kind of set on that. I feel it in the air, right? And like, is this going to be the thing that they want to chase after? Probably not. So you've got a different marketing avenue than 99% of NFTs. How are you planning to solve that?
We're going to bring Shax on as our advisor, and he is going to help us figure that part out. We're taking applications as we speak.
I had a lot of fun, guys. Thank you. Rob is the one that got me up here. I really love Rob, so thank you for everything,
amazing,
guys.
man.
I
It's a
appreciate
pleasure
it.
having you
Pleasure
here.
pleasure listening. Thank you.
So, thank you, Shaq. So, that's the caliber of people in Bali. Like,
Ooh, he grilled me, man.
That's really good.
Melting over here.
Exactly, yeah. So I think I want to add to what Shax was, questioning is that, as well as being, in the early stage of this revolution era, whatever you want to call it, I think there probably are more questions than there are answers. But those who care to ask those questions and those who care to provide solid answers to those questions are the ones who are going to really benefit from this, the wave that's coming. So, awesome. Any other? Yep. Thank you. We have time for more questions, Robert.
So, you can go as long as you like. Yeah, do we have other questions? Otherwise, I have a question for everybody in the room.
Yep.
Have you asked yourself how it is you're going to operate within the next 5 years? Now that you've heard all this, that the world is going exponential, the old systems are breaking apart, currencies are falling apart, the value of the dollar is going to zero within the next 10 years. Everything is revolutionizing around us, fundamentally speaking. Have you given it thought to say, how do I operate within that? Right? That's all I ask of anybody who wants to look towards this space. Ask yourself that question and go, wait, am I making dollars or a currency from one place, from one business in one area, then maybe I should make more. Am I focused on something? I mean, if you haven't heard about ChatGPT, ChatGPT writes whole novels now. I'm going to write a book, and I'm not even going to write it. I'm just going to tell the AI, hey, here's my talk, write it into an amazing book. And I can literally take your book, and I can say, write it in her voice, and it just instantly writes it. AI has been released now that writes, creates all the art, creates business plans, writes computer code, builds me an app, and I can do that. I literally did that in a night. In one night, I built a full platform by myself, and I don't even know coding, right? We're in this exponential age in a world where our most creative thoughts and the discussions you have with this AI are ridiculous. I was like, do you believe in God? Do you believe in spirit? How do you focus on your and I was going deep down the depths of the meaning of life with this thing, and it was holding up better than anybody I've held. It actually responded better than anybody, right? So we are in this world. Please, 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 first of all, just Google ChatGPT. Secondly, ChatGPT. It's by OpenAI. ChatGPT.
Yeah. OpenAI is easy to Google. If you Google OpenAI, you'll see what projects they're working on.
Yeah. So in that world, ask yourself the question, how it is that I'm going to operate within the next 5 years, and see if there are risks that you have not seen going forth, and have a plan that mitigates those risks. I would just yeah.
I think to answer your questions, I'll choose decentralized autonomous organization, decentralization, self-sovereignty, and community learning and collective mind. So that's your answer.
Amazing.
Yep. Question, Mike? Yeah. What's your name, darling?
My name is Josie, and I wanted to ask you something, Sim. For me, before, I always thought that it was kind of scary to go into the digital era, and that everyone is always scared that the robots will become like us and have more emotions and more this because they learn everything from us. But since I saw this open AI and the chat, I realized now, and I would love your thoughts on it, that I think that the biggest danger now is that we will become like them. We won't be creative anymore. We will use all the tools that they have, and there won't be any more creativity.
If they are us and we are them, aren't we one?
No, because they could not expand. Because they expand now by learning from us. How will they?
Exactly. So let's keep expanding, right? Like the way I look at everything in life is, it is simply like me and you are not separate. Even though we have physical distance, we're quantum entangled with the entire universe. So you are I am you. I am ChatGPT. I literally am. I taught the thing, right? So it's read more books than me. Okay, nice. Teach me back. Right? So I don't see it as us and them. The day I'll see it as us and them is if they go and pick up guns and come to my door, which is not a non-zero possibility, right? Until that happens, there is no us and them. If anything, for me, it's a new modality for me to gain knowledge, for me to expand, right? There is no it. It is simply a computer program that's coded. I've now learned how it's coded. So now I'm coding my own. I'm turning it into a mentor. The moment I saw it, I decided, I was like, I'm going to turn it into a mentor. If this thing is this smart, let's teach it from the greatest mentors like Rob, like yourself. And that doesn't take anything from you. As a matter of fact, that allows me to take you to 1 billion people who really need you, who can't afford, whatever $7,000 package you guys are trying to charge me over here. Okay? But it's the truth. It's like we keep expanding, we give, we use it to expand back, and ideally bring that to the masses, because we're sitting here, on a, what is this, a Tuesday,
Monday,
hanging out.
Monday. Speak up Monday.
Nobody ever knows. Nobody ever knows what day it is in Bali, because we're so blessed, right? And I don't know what day it is ever. Okay, but the point is, we're sitting here. We're so blessed that we're sitting here with the privilege of being able to have our life like this. Most of the world's not like that. These farmers are not like that. If I can give them something and the farmer can go give me a list of stuff I can do to improve my farming fields, and the AI recommends all of these things and becomes a companion and helps them with all that stuff, I think it'll add more value than it will take away. But there is no them. It's all us. And they've been coming, these kind of things have been coming for a long time, and we're still here. We're not going anywhere. Humans are not going to get replaced. As a matter of fact, we are going to have a bunch of menial stuff done for us so that we can sit there and really ponder the oneness that exists.
Just a reminder again, choose fear or love. Choose fear or love. If you fear into technology that is really facing you, that we're going to eat you, then it will happen like that, right? So it's only a tool. It's only a tool that can expand and improve and enhance or decrease your value. That's why we are talking about the value and then the value of humanity and value of us. If we keep improving our own value, then there is nothing can decrease in your value.
Awesome. Yeah, I just want to add that, so those of you who are still hardcore left brain scientific thinking, I want to remind you to Gozi's point that arguably the greatest scientific mind, Albert Einstein, he said the most important decision you can make is deciding whether we live in a hostile or friendly universe. All right, so even Albert Einstein's bridging science and belief. So what these guys are saying, hopefully it doesn't go over your head. It really, really hits home, so thanks.
Well, firstly, I just want to say, what a great talk, right? I think everyone in here has got something, right? The ones which are novices have got an idea that you can bring your heart into this and be led by love. Those who are full-on tech got a few little sessions over there who, again, I understood about 0.5% of that whole conversation or that whole interaction, but I know Shaq is an incredible guy with an incredible brain. I could recognize that straight off. So I think tonight has been something for everyone, which is a beautiful thing. So I just want to thank, it's not over, but I just want to thank Adrian for standing up when I put it out there to the blockchain community of, right, who wants to do it? Who wants to take the lead? You put your hand up. And obviously, Sister Melisa, yeah. And much like everybody up there, you are a beautiful man, very sharp, very intelligent, but with a huge heart. And I think everyone can feel that. And each one of you have got an amazing heart that is very easy for us to pick up and for us to see, which I think is why everybody is still here. No one's left. People are coming going, I want more, right? I want more. Because it's a beautiful thing, right? So the question which I have, maybe it's a question, maybe it's not, is, the title was Creating Value On-Chain in Times of Bears and Busts. And would love everyone's feedback, if possible, as a summary to that title. What advice or suggestions would they then give? So the question again, the title being, creating value on chain in times of bears and busts. Yeah. So what summary would each of you give to that title? Thanks again.
Can I just ask you to start? Can you answer that question? Because you're the moderator, but we're so inspired by the way Adrian works on so many impact-driven projects. He's always checking on what's the value behind the project. He's a great, the person that actually kind of looks into the details. So even though you're moderating today, I think that's a great question for you. What brings value on chain in times of bears and busts? He's got one.
Thank you. Thanks for turning the tables on me, and thank you, Robert and Melissa and the rest of the panel. I guess my advice touches on the various conversations we've had tonight in terms of, tapping back into your own definition of value, and that ties back to your genius as well. So my values and my genius is looking at how impact can be scaled, can be monetized, and how we can create real business models out of that, and how potentially we can use technology like blockchain to scale it. And if it's not appropriate for blockchain, then don't go there, right? So my advice, I guess, in summary, is so use both your left brain and your right brain, your head and your heart. And if something doesn't feel right, left or right, heart or head, then ask more questions or walk away from it. All right.
Yay. Thanks for answering that. I guess we'll go in order. As a summary, I bring it back always to the human part of your own personal value and the sovereignty within you to interact with the world from a place of integrity that really defines who you are and what you want to do. I find nothing more odd than you investing in a mining project if you don't believe in mining. Don't go there. Don't put your money there. It's not in integrity with who you are. No matter how much that money is going to help other things later, don't. Go and find the stuff that is actually in integrity with yourself. Invest in it's not only the money, it's the time, it's the energy that you put into it. And if you're really not into blockchain, or it just sounds like a bunch of gibberish, it's probably not your path, and it's not going to be until it becomes your path. So don't force it. If it doesn't call you, it's the same thing, I think, with everything. So value on chain brings, I think, is built by you really being in integrity with who you are, with your values, and participating not only on blockchain and on chain, but on everything you do from a place of integrity. And from that place, you're going to be able to learn more about the technology. You're going to have interest because it's going to solve a problem that you have, or that it interests you in your field of expertise or genius, however you want to call it. So value on chain comes from you really defining what your values are and interacting with the projects from that place. I just want to add, that's from the person who wants to interact with the space. And of course, for builders and people who are on projects, the value that we create on Bear Times is really building, asking a million questions like this gentleman just did, and continuing to just, we say, build and don't talk so much about it, like really go inwards and look at your project and see what are the things that can be improved and what are the things that you can build, and continue to ask the questions so that when the next cycle comes up, you're ready to embrace the goodies, hopefully.
I'm gonna go ahead last actually because I have also a little bit practice. It just takes maybe 1-2 minutes, and it's powerful practice in terms of going through fear or crisis as everything is happening right now or in your life. So,
Thank you. So I think to summarize that is passion. Find your passion, number one. Number two is connection. So connect with people based on your passion. What are you inspired for? And then what are you driven for? And then three is knowledge. So find someone that's within the space and then expertise in your knowledge. And find a community that is covering all those three aspects in your life. So that's the values that you can bring in terms of bear market. Keep on building, keep on innovating, find that source and connect with people. So yeah, thank you.
Adding value in bear markets, or bringing value on chain in bear markets. If you're a builder, think about improving people's lives. A simple fact of life is the more people's lives you improve, the more money you make. So the more value you can bring to more people with your project, the better it is for the world, whatever that means. So figure out a way so it adds value to people, not just something that's hocus pocus in the air. If you're an investor who is in pain right now because you're going through this process in the bear market, remember to go hug your children and whoever you love, and remember to count the good things that are happening in life, because life is so much more than all this money, numbers on a screen crap. It's a scam. It's just an honest scam. Go find the goodness that exists in the world, okay? If you're somebody who hasn't entered this space and you're thinking about entering this space, learn. Because the biggest piece of value that you can add to yourself is knowledge. Nobody can ever take the knowledge from you. So if you're somebody who's interested, for everybody actually, for everybody who's involved in the process, just learn and add value. And remember that love is more valuable than money. So if this time is causing you to lose touch with love, really rethink why you're even in this space and participating in stuff.
So I don't need to add the theoretical, because we are surrounded with these beautiful superheroes and they basically already summarize it. I want to give you a practical thing. It's off-chain, okay? It's not on-chain, so it's off-chain. I always remember one of my mentors said to me, you are one thought away from your misery, happiness, sadness, everything. Only one thought away. One thought away. So I want to make a practice with you, yeah? So when you are dealing with this, like when you are in pain, when you are like in stress, or you've kind of in the fog, you walk down in the valley, you don't see the mountain, the peak where you want to go, you don't see the castle, do this practice, okay? So I want to invite you just to close your eyes, okay? This experiment for yourself. Close your eyes.
Close your eyes, people.
Take a deep breath in and breath out. If you want the breath out, the next breath out, you can make a sound like it's literally giving your body a signal, you are safe. You are safe. So now I want to invite you to think about your unluckiest moment. Maybe just this week. Something that was like, shit. Just think about that moment. This is like, oh my gosh, this is the worst day I have ever had. Just think about it. Just play with me. And as you zoom into this situation, and you will feel in your body something. It can be tightness. It can be like uncomfortable feeling in your belly, in your chest. Right? So just breathe into that space and expand it. It's okay. It was in the past. I know your body cannot really compare if it's really real or not, but it's happening as if it's real. Now breathe in and breathe out. Okay, I want to take you out from the situation. Just shake your body out. Shake it, a little bit. Shake it in. All right. Amazing. Now come back to your body. Connect. And then think about the happiest moment, the most joyful moment in your life. It can be yesterday, today, like it can be something that you've just like, it gives you smile, it gives you big smile in your face. It even maybe light up your heart. Expand it, zoom in. Zooming this moment. Maybe you can feel the gratitude inside your body. You can feel the light inside your body. It's like this comfortable feeling, and feel how your body really feels. Feel how everything is light, how it's like the heaviness goes away. It was in the past again, but it feels like it's real. Your body cannot really separated. Now, come back in your body. Breathe in. Feel your body. Feel your butt is touching the cushion. And come back. Open your eyes. Who from you guys can really feel when you were thinking about the worst situation ever? Who from you guys can feel in your body, like if it's really real, if it's really happening? So it was in the past, right? Who from you can feel when you think about something beautiful, something positive, something happy, and you can feel it as if you are there? Magic, right? So that's a powerful practice you can always do. Like think that is everything is temporary. We are here as a guest. We are here on a journey, right? So if you come only like if it's permanent, then it will be endless. Like also your problem will be endless. So your happiness, it's cool if you can. It can be endless, but it's not life, you know. So yeah, that's a practice I want to give you.
Thank you, Gozi.
I have a practice too. Close your eyes and imagine that crypto's always up. And then just walk around like that.
And I just wanted to
This
say...
is one thought.
Only in Bali you come to a blockchain panel and you end up with a meditation and visualization exercise. So power to us for having, the heart and the brain to bring those two worlds together.
Being Mr. Practical, on a practical note, as we go through this current phase of potentially more scams, more busts, the bear market, we've talked about the positive side of things, but you will get a lot of challenges and obstacles along the way. You'll get more questions, and I guess the practice that Gozi has gifted us is an example of mental resilience, mental and emotional resilience. If you want to survive as a builder, as a learner, as a contributor, you do need that resilience and it's going to be worth it. If you hang in there and you learn and you build something of value, when the tide rises, then your boat will float. On that note, I think I want to respect your time. So I'll close the panel now, and thank you very much for making out here on a Monday evening. It is Monday. And listening to us, sharing our knowledge. We don't pretend to be experts. Some of us are, individual geniuses, but we're just here to share, and we'll be around as we close the panel to connect more with everyone who wants to learn more about what we're doing. We'd love to hear about what you're doing as well. So it's, mutual learning is mutual. So please hang around, and let's put our hands together for both the audience and the panelists. And a shout out to my brother Robert for creating this beautiful platform. My brother from the same mother, Mother Earth. And also shout out Itchy and the Tropical Nomad staff. And shout out to Mama Bali for the magic that brought us here. On that note, I'll close with Balinese saying of Matur Suksama.